No,
We are taking content away from the cast.
I just wanted to let you know that I did think initially, if there was any article that I was worried about, it was this one. How it could transfer over from genocide to mercy depending on your actions is based off of our actions as humans. We could be seen as the monster at the end or the hero, but it depends on how much we are committed to that and how much are we committed to legacy.
Anything else before we start that? Good morning. Today I just yelled. Sorry. Let's try that again.
I mean, we could still do it. Like, we could still go with it.
All right. Here we go. Good morning. Today is May 10th. It's 8:12 in the morning. We're rambling for 12 minutes, which is fine. And this is the Board State. My name is Jeffrey Vieira, also known as Mr. V. I am joined with my buddy across the island. Who are you, sir?
Jack.
Good morning, Jack. We are a weekly, and we've been weekly, that's very good. We are a weekly cast where we showcase articles that stood out for us about gaming for social change, with the emphasis on tabletop and independent game design for you all. So we pick 10 articles that stood out, put it in a Google Doc, and talk about it every Sunday morning. How was your week, Jack?
Yeah, interesting. We've been working on several projects as of late, and just been long.
Yeah, this week really flew by.
Yeah.
In a stream of activities. Okay. So our first article of today, probably the most controversial one, is by Kotaku.com. And the title, which is a little bit clickbaity, I think it's okay, is Tonight We Riot devs wanted to make an unapologetic leftist game. Okay. Your thoughts on this article, Jack?
Okay, first thing first, guys. I didn't choose this, so you cannot say it was me this time. This is all Mr. V. Okay, if you're a regular on this podcast, this wasn't me. Anyways, no. But all jokes aside, it brings up good topics and good ideas on what is acceptable in game development or what is not acceptable in game development, and what is the line in which you shouldn't cross or you should cross. The whole core of the game is, think of it like all of the old 80s era games from like the 80s and 90s, like Contra or the original Mario games. Well, it doesn't strike you as political, but more as like political satire, and more on this ideal and this insanity of that ideal of like a private corporation, which a concept we saw a lot of in games like BioShock and the Outer Worlds. Basically, private corporations becoming a whole nation state. But this one is set in more modern times, and honestly, if you accept this, you're going to have to accept the opposite of it, which is a complete rightist in quotation marks game, or unapologetic right game. And that's the thing about games like this. That's the main thing, or the main message about it. You need to adjust accordingly, and you need to accept all meanings. So if you accept this game as much as what will be its counterpart, will be like a Otis rate game, then I support both games. because it supports a creative vision. And that's what I think you should take off of this article and from this game. Not just about the messaging, but also just about the idea that, yes, you can make games for whatever you want to do, but you have to accept there's always going to be a counterpoint or a counter game to your game that you've made.
Okay, cool. Yes, absolutely. I love this game. I immediately purchased it and carved out time and space that I don't really have in between projects and Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing is like another part-time job for me right now. I find some I don't know how I'm finding time to play it. I don't really have time in the weekdays during the day, but I've been playing in the evenings. But yeah, I played about maybe 5 to 6 hours of this game, and yeah, I'm completely blown away. I love their unapologetic veracity of what this game represents. Let me just read a paragraph right from the article that really describes what this game represents. And it's: politics has become a dirty word in gaming, especially when angrily screamed, or, as is usually the case, frantically typed by a vocal minority of reactionary video game fans. But for more progressive players, games often aren't political enough. Or, when they do take a position, they push objectable conservative concepts like capitalism, imperialism, and militarism. Tonight We Riot bucks those trends by proudly wearing its decidedly leftist ideology on its sleeve. It's just so refreshing to see that. And yeah, you're absolutely right. If a game like this is on one side of the horseshoe, there definitely has room for space on the other side of the horseshoe, right? Using like the horseshoe theory analogy. And although I wouldn't play something that forwarded a far right skinhead agenda, should there be a game about it? I would say no, but they definitely have the right to make a game like that and explore those topics, right? Like literature, film, any type of artistic medium, to really explore those topics, right? So yeah, this game, Tonight We Riot's gameplay mixes the street brawling of River City Ransom, right? That old school 80s pixelish side scroller, with simplistic squad tactics like Pimpkin. So what's really interesting about this game is you don't really have, just from a gameplay perspective, you don't really have lives. You have a flag, and the flag doesn't belong to government. There's just a red flag with a yellow star on it. I think it's like a yellow star on it, if I remember correctly. So when the character that you're controlling dies, someone else picks up the flag and keeps moving forward. Which is a really cool concept and idea of an agenda, an idea that never dies. Like, as long as the people keep moving forward, the idea or the ideology moves forward with the people, which is really cool. So, is it controversial? Hell yeah. Is that a good thing? Absolutely. I think this is what games are about to me, is exploring topics like this.
I do want to say though that as much as films have done this, the thing that makes gaming more special and more creative than films is that the guys who are doing this are not everyone. It's just people who has their ideals, who wants to try new things out. Just because Riot Games are doing it, that doesn't mean Activision is gonna do this. That doesn't mean Toby Fox is gonna do this.
Yeah.
Unlike in the filming industry, Disney is doing it, now everybody is doing it.
That's a really good point.
And so if you have what feels of like this game becoming like the pivotal flag waiver of like PC
Mm-hmm.
games and gonna affect the market, don't. Honestly, even if the most I could see this happening is that it would have one other sequel. Honestly, as like the game standpoint.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so just to tack on to that idea, I think because they are an independent company that they can get away with, well, not get away with it,
But
but yeah, Activision would never make a game like this, right?
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Because it would it would piss people off, and I think that's a sign of really good media when like good content divides, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so that was Tonight We Riot. Devs wanted to make an unapologetic leftist game on the Kotaku.com. Alright, check that game out. Next one, right, strolling right along, right, from throwing bricks and Molotov cocktails at Riot Police, is an article by IO9, Gizmodo.com. 8 non-combative combat role-playing games for when you're a lover, not a fighter. And this is really a quote-unquote lover, but it's not quite just about romantic games. And this is again an emphasis on tabletop, and this is something that we've been talking about a lot, is the rise of non-combat role-playing games or non-combat games in general. For example, the two games that won pretty much awards across the board last year was Disco Elysium and Death Straddling, right? Both non-combative games. And right now, I think they sold 11 million copies or some ridiculous number, and I'm sure part of it is, of course, people are in quarantine, so it's the best fix. But Animal Crossing, so these are games where you're not picking up a gun and shooting people, or teaming up with a party and dungeon delving. So there's this new landscape, and dare I say, marketing opportunity to make some gold, to make some bells, by designing games with this theme in mind. That to quote a friend of mine, boring doesn't have to be uncool. Boring can be cool, right? Or yeah. So your thoughts on this article, Jack?
Honestly, like how we talk about in the article pile before this, it's about letting game developers basically have an empty canvas to create anything they want on here. And so
Yes.
that's the main thing about it. Is this canvas is for you to make whatever you may want, whether that be a political message or that be just a simple game about romance and love. Like, a couple of these games I remember reading about, like Tales from the Loop and showing images on,
Mm-hmm.
and I got very interested because it was mainly talking about different ideals, but in a different way.
Yep.
So, like Tales from the Loop, I got in the Kids Next Door, that cartoon vibe, even though it's not based off of it. I just got in like that whole feeling, and I don't know why. It could be mainly because of the age of the kids, the main protagonists, but I just got in those feelings. And basically, if a game could do that, allow you to either go back to have fond memories of it or great memories of it currently, then it does its job well.
Mm-hmm. So besides just talking about these non-combat role-playing games, what the article does, the article gives a really good highlight of RPGs that you can download from DriveThruRPG.
Mm-hmm.
God bless them; they're amazing. But there's games like Till Dawn, which seems really interesting. Romance in the Air, that's something I might not be too interested in.
Yeah.
But you mentioned Tales from the Loop, but there's a Fiasco. I've played Fiasco many times, and actually Fiasco can be quite violent as well. It's a fun improv like role playing game. But there's this game like Threadbare. Okay, Threadbare. Let me just read the description here. Threadbare is a stitch punk, that's a cool term, stitch punk role-playing game where each player is a jury-rigged toy that lives in a broken world. Using the Apocalypse World engine, this is a game about creation and repair. Combat in Threadbare is extremely rare, and if it ever happens, it is resolved quickly without the use of dice. Instead, players focus on patching themselves up, creating new inventions, and making friends with fellow players. After all, it's a dangerous world out there for a toy in Threadbare. That's really, really cool, where you're playing these autonomous toys, right?
If you wanted to play Toy Story, this is your chance.
Yeah, sure.
No,
but I mean, stitch punk, right? It's like, you're repairing yourself.
Right.
Yeah, you know what? I think reading that out loud, because I read through this article. We're reading it out loud, like, let's play that. Let's download that and I'll write a game up for that.
I wanna play Frisco, to be honest.
Fiasco?
Fiasco.
You got to be in person for that game, though. So that's something we really shouldn't do in like Roll20. Well, maybe we could. Maybe we should actually. You know what? Like we'll take this conversation offline.
Yeah.
Fiasco is awesome. So, think of Fiasco like Cthulhu Dark, where it's a game lasts about maybe 2 hours, and Cthulhu Dark could definitely go longer. But the idea is that it's a terminal game, so you're going to end the game, or the game will end, usually really, really bad, in the span of a couple of hours. And each player essentially is their own GM, so there is some very basic rules to create your character, or your role in this game, to be more accurate. And then each player basically takes a turn being a DM in this game, so you have complete agency over what happens to your character. So this is really interesting, improv-esque type of role-playing experience. But yeah, I think we should definitely play it in class. I think that'd be cool.
Yeah.
But doesn't Threadbare sound pretty cool?
Yes.
Like, anthropomorphized,
Yeah.
like jury-rigged. Yeah, okay.
No,
we gotta bookmark that. I'll go pay for
I'm
that.
gonna try and make a character
Okay.
off of Toy Story. If we're going to play that, I'm gonna make a character.
So you could actually
off of
make
Toy
like
Story.
an army man or something. That's
No.
Okay.
Woody.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or I mean, it doesn't have to be a toy. It could be whatever.
Right. Like an airsoft gun.
Okay. All right. Anyway,
We're going.
You're driving on that tangent road again as it goes further and further into the sunset. Yeah. Okay, that is Gizmodo.com. 8 non-combat role-playing games for when you're a lover, not a fighter. All right, the next article is by Fort Hood Sentinel. I don't know where this one came from. And this is USO offers virtual celebrity visits game during COVID quarantine. Jack, what is this article about?
So it's basically the opposite of the article that we first talked about, which is mainly about pro-military, but it's not the main core of the article. It's not on pro-military. It's mainly about just what these celebrities are now doing and what game developers are now doing in order to help support everyone. So such things are to include visits and also live sessions to these troops who can't even see their families now because of them either being in another place during this pandemic and being stuck there, or they're doing something else like on active deployments, trying to make sure everything else is secure for everyone else. So that's the main thing. It's basically trying to say thank you, even though many people cannot at this current state. And this article, though it's talking about the troops, you will find many more likewise articles on different factors. For example, the NHS, the National Health Service in UK, is providing video game sessions in order to help their health service members cope and relieve stress. Those articles, you could see these articles everywhere for every profession that's in the that is mandatory worker. And it shows like as gaming as a whole, we're leading the pack no matter what we're doing, whether for good or bad, especially now, because a lot more people is realizing that gamers can open up. Gamers can really support each other. So now they're just relying on us to teach them. And yeah.
Okay. I don't really have anything to say on this article. Cool. Awesome. That is Fort Hood Sentinel. All right, next article.
I could see the stress marks coming. Like like in Sawyer Snake, Snake, they're about to uncover you. Run away.
Fort Hood Sentinel. What a lovely name for a website. Okay, the next article. The Indian Express, popular Google Doodle Games, how to kill boredom with your browser. I love stuff like this. Let me just mention this. So the year before you joined the class, we created a browser-based game where, so this has to be 4 years ago, I think. Yeah, 4 years ago, where you could go to sites that had Donald Trump's image on it, and you could like shoot him with your mouse. So we built it was just all browser plugin using JavaScript, and we were able. It was so delightful. Just use because you can just go to like any. I mean, you can basically go to any site, but more specifically, it was and you could like doodle on his face and then click it, and then you like the image will like dissolve or spin out and things like that. Very very simple, but very very fun. There was no data that was stored locally, so when you refresh, the page would refresh. And yeah, we wasted a good, 8 hours playing that and making that. It was really fun. But this is a really cool article, Jack. What can you tell us a little bit about it?
Okay, I was going to say for the Trump, I actually still use it a lot during the pandemic. Just to relieve stress. Take out all my anger if I need to. Just on one person is very good. But otherwise, I want to say that these types of games, the article is talking mainly about Doodle Games on the Play Store on Google, and so I personally play a lot of these games, and a lot of these games have been awesome to do and awesome waste time, but it's still like VR. It's an unexplored industry or even genre to get into. Even though the article is mentioning a lot popular, it's getting popular. It's still a lot of the games I played, especially in recent times. There's certain stuff they purposely lock out because they need to make a revenue out of somehow. And then you can either have a full version, but you have to pay for it, or you have to have a subscription version, which is the free version. I prefer the pay version than anything else, and I think that's right now is gonna be the biggest spiral for the Doodle games. It's like not really on gameplay mechanics or the material of it, but mainly which one is better, a free version but has a subscription base, or a paid version. But yeah, other than that, yeah.
Yeah, so this is part of Google's Stay and Play at Home with Popular Past Doodles initiative.
Right.
And so Google has announced to post popular interactive game doodles every day for 10 consecutive days. That means a total of 10 game doodles. Until date, it has released 8 interactive game doodles, so there should be 10 by now.
Right.
With this similar kind of style of gameplay. Very, very cool. I like it. And so they are free to play?
Yes. So these versions are, since they're sponsored from Google, they're free to play, and they basically will allow the players as much as the game possess. For example, the one that you see right there,
Yeah.
it's basically you're playing a cat. If you go on the article,
Mm-hmm.
there's a screenshot of one of their games that they were making, and it's on the App Store for Google, and basically you're playing as a whistle cat trying to go to this haunted house. And basically at the end, I never got into the end because I always die from the ghosts. But from what I could tell, if you reach the end, it's supposed to be like a funny as heck ending. So, I mean,
Got it.
like, if you would want to have a perfect way of doing a free-to-play duo game, what Google did is basically your template.
Cool. This is really, really cool. All right. So this is by the Indian Express, popular Google Doodle Games, How to Kill Boredom with Your Browser. I love it. All right. Next article looks like a thesis. And this is one from the globalnewswire.com, and this is Amuka Esports launches private placement offering on DealSquare. Company aims to build Canada's largest diversified esports company. Frickin' awesome find, Jack. Can you tell us a little bit about this article?
Alright. So, how we mentioned earlier, continuously on this podcast, how we're leading gaming as a whole, and how our actions will shape future actions that other industries will imitate or replicate. This is one such action. And so, esports as a thing has not really been a big thing in Canada, as you see like in the States or in Hawaii or in Korea. Esports was not a big thing, but thanks to or because of COVID, a lot more people are getting interested in esports and how they could shape the future. One such shaping of the future is diversifying their player base. So the article is pretty lengthy, I'm not gonna lie, but it's basically going over what this new idea of an esports league in the near future is going to look like. And I know that a lot of, if you're a professional, you will have mixed opinions about this, because as much as you want more people to get in, you want them to be at their best level. But I will also argue that they will never learn to be at their best if they don't go in there. So having such leagues like this, though diversified and though unique in all sense, will allow those who want to get into esports get in, but also keep that hunger up, so once they get to low level, like world championships for example, they're ready and they're not just getting destroyed. Yeah.
Wow. I had so much takeaways just from that. Some I'll talk about once we're done, and so please remind me. But I think it's fair. So I think, first of all, I think it's fair to say that esports has been really large outside the U.S. I mean, it's big in the U.S., but outside the U.S., it's monumental,
huge.
right? Huge. I remember either I was hearing this on a YouTube thing or a podcast, or I think I read it somewhere that in China they had like a dating game where you, like, if you win the date, you can like date an esports player, and like thousands of girls are like lining up for this, right? And yeah, like if you look at the number of people that watch the Super Bowl versus a major esport event, which is like global. Like I remember I don't remember the stats offhand, but I remember that like it surpassed it like fivefold or something like that. Yeah, this is the new age that we're moving into, where you can still be a jock, definitely, but you could be a virtual jock. And I think with VR and augmented reality and things like that, it may take 20 years, may take 30 years, but this is not going to go away. It's only going to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And using technology like that is we're going to really begin to see these esports expand beyond just the tabletop mouse and keyboard type of competitions into virtualized like football and things like that. In the article, it quotes that esports is a rapidly growing industry with roughly $2 billion of global investments expected in 2020. It represents a promising opportunity for a wider investment community. That's the other thing is, I think it was last year, there was this 16-year-old that played a Fortnite tournament that got more from the Fortnite tournament than Tiger Woods did in his whatever golf major tournament thing. You're right, I'm trying to explain sports stuff. The golf, that's the extent of my description. The main golf thing, event. But right, does that ring a bell? Yeah, right. There's some Fortnite tournament. In one single game, the 16-year-old won more money than Tiger Woods did in a tournament.
No,
so
I gained more respect than Tiger Woods did in one.
Yeah. So, just to kind of support what you're saying, in another way is this is not going away. It's only going to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and there's an investment opportunity for companies to begin investing in.
So, one last thing to know: if you have your doubts on our comments, I would just wanted to say that the esports club that I was a part of, many of them came from football players and piloting and basically basketball. All of these sports that you would think they will be more focused on that profession, they will actually gain more and more focus on esports.
Very cool. Okay. Amuka Esports launches private placement offering on DealSquare, and this is globalnewswire.com. Esports for the win. All right. Next one's going to be an article from our favorite site, today.ugov.com, and this is Americans are gaming more than usual. What is this article about, Jack?
So we talk a lot about just this idea of gamers are leading the pack. Well, if you want the evidence, this is your evidence.
Yeah, man. Wow.
It goes into specific data and showcase all of the understandings of how did this lockdown affect now the gaming industry and also the player base, but not just by male and female, but by generations. And the key about generations is that they will want different genres. For example, millennials, I know for a fact, would love to play Call of Duty, but only a certain few of them will want to play Undertale, while Gen X will love to play games like Undertale. So different games, different genres will associate with different generations more and more. Baby boomers will like more casual games, for example, Candy Crush, or even Marcala. If you haven't heard of it, it's a game where you move stones around from one end to the other, and it's basically a two-player game. While you as adults may be more interested in board gaming as a whole, Warhammer 40k, these games. If you really are interested in data of that, or just generation statistics, which one is the peak, which one is the lowest, maybe which one will come and rise more, this is your best article right now.
Jack, this article is so amazing, dude. This is by far my favorite article for today. Wow. So I'm a data guy, so I love data,
Mm-hmm.
and they cite their sources. This is amazing. So it breaks down between U.S. adults, millennials, which is 1982 to 1999, Gen X, 1965 to 1981, and then baby boomers, which are really, really old people. So, and then it goes down to like spend time. So this is like kind of like a bar chart. So it spend time on social media, slept, played video games, baked, began a DIY project, consumed alcohol, smoked tobacco, cannabis. Very cool. Even dance, recorded videos of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Jack, this is amazing, man.
So
really cool.
another thing is that we all know my generation will be basically the most data we could find. That's easy. But a lot of these generations, we never had data until this bloody article.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. This is one to check out, guys. Note links are going to be in the show notes. You just scroll down to look for this description, which is Americans are gaming more than usual, and click on it and take a look. Share this article around. This is really good information. Thank you, Jeff. That was good find. Okay, that is from todayougov.com. Americans are gaming more than usual, and yes, they are. Okay, next article. This is by mickey.com.au, which is an Australian news source, and this is Coral Island, a simulator game that gives awareness on environmentalism. You can imagine who posted this article. Why I posted it and why I wanted to talk about this is because I didn't want to keep talking about Animal Crossing every week. And I wanted to find out and I wanted to find something that would give me an excuse to talk about Animal Crossing. And here it is. So in Animal Crossing I'm completely joking. This is Coral Island is developed by an Indonesian-based indie game studio, Stairway Games, and will surely appeal to environmentally conscious gamers. Absolutely. So this is another one of those, which they coined the term in this article, which I'm going to start saying more and more, which is an eco simulator, and it's very, very cool. This is again another build your dream system or build your dream culture in a game. And takes all the good concepts from games like Harvest Moon, Stardew Valley, Animal Crossing, and things like that, and redefines them in their own game. What are your thoughts on this, man?
Well, to be honest, I feel like first thing first is like gotta give some love to Pacific Islanders, But second thing is that games such as these concepts and these ideas often brought up from your own personal manao or your own personal stories and histories. So that, for example, a big thing that's happening in Micronesia, that's where the devs are from, right?
No, Indonesia.
Indonesia.
Where my wife is from.
So, well, some of a big deal also over there is that a lot of the climate change has now been affecting their resources and their intake a lot more than any place else. They've been using a lot of iron, so that means there's not going to be enough homes or enough places for people to go. We already see these placements from Indonesia and Micronesia already, thanks to the actions of us. But by them showcasing a game on this tough and brutal subject, but showcasing in a positive way, I see it more as a way to say, yeah, this is happening, but this is still a problem we could solve together if we work together, if we could fight together. And so this game, I saw YouTube videos of it, and it's actually looks pretty fun and have that feel of Animal Crossing. So if you getting tired of being told for you to pay your debts or else you're gonna break your arms from a bloody bell, this is a great game to try and relax for a little bit from the Animal Crossing haze, all from the Doom guy.
Yes, yes. Cool. Thank you. So that is Coral Island simulator game that gives awareness on environmentalism. Awesome. On mickey.com.au. Devs from Indo. Very cool. All right. Next article. Oh boy.
Sorry.
It's okay. All right. So this article here, I went down a very deep rabbit hole, and I'll go into it a little bit. Jack's going to talk about it a little bit first, and then I'm going to talk for the rest of the hour and talk about this. Just kidding. Fans translate Trippy PlayStation LSD Dream Emulator by bleedingcool.com. Jack, your thoughts on this article?
Thank you.
Hello, Jack?
It looks like an acid trip.
So it's okay. No, go, please. Okay. So your thoughts on this article?
Okay. I'm just looking at this article now, and I didn't realize.
All right. Let me start then. Okay.
Yeah.
So I wanna talk about two things about this article. Number one is the designer Osamu Sato, which I'm gonna talk about after I talk about the game. And the game LSD Dream Emulator. LSD isn't lysergic, blah blah blah. The hallucinogen LSD. It's actually stands for something else, which I don't remember right now. It's in the trailer. So if you watch the 30-minute gameplay, it's in the beginning of that. But let me just read off from Wikipedia the description of this game. Will give you a good understanding of what this Dream Emulator is about. So, LSD Dream Emulator is an exploration game developed by Asmic Ace Entertainment for PlayStation, which was in 1998. In LSD, the player explores surreal environments without an objective. The player can only move and touch objects that will warp them into another setting. The game was conceived by Japanese artist Osamu Sato, who rejected the idea of games and wanted to use the PlayStation for a medium to create contemporary art. The game's concept is based on a dream diary kept by Asmic Ace employee Hiroko Nishikawa for over a decade. So this game, and I've been aware of this game for some time. It's been this cult kind of there was a cult following for this game, and there was like a PlayStation 1 emulator version of this game that's been floating around. And the games that I'm really interested in, so there's this concept called the iceberg meme. And so if you think about an iceberg above the ocean, right, and then beneath the ocean there's a lot more of the ice that you can see. So above the ocean, if you can think of games above the ocean, that's like your lighter, kind of easier accepted games that you can play. But the further down you get into the iceberg, in fact even beneath the iceberg, deep in the water, that's when these games get weirder and weirder and heavier and heavier and heavier. And that's really where my interest is, on the bottom of the iceberg. So it's called I think it's called the iceberg trench meme. But it's used for like movies and music and things like that. So this game is on the bottom of that iceberg. And it's no pun intended, it's a trip. You are walking through this like 8-bit surrealistic landscape, and then when you bump into an object, you're immediately pulled into the object. I was watching in this 30-minute gameplay where the player fell down this well, and then it cut to like this. It was this beautiful like CG scene of like the inner workings of like a watch, like all these gears and things like that, for like a good like 2 minutes, just like this video. Like it was like really right out of a page of Twin Peaks. and so you're watching like this clock kind of work all these gears and contraptions, and then you disappear in the game again. So it's a really interesting, surrealistic, abstract art game that I think everyone should explore. Now, Osamu Sato, this guy I just discovered, and he's been making games and art for some time now. Let me just mention one more game that he made, which is called Eastern Mind: The Lost Souls of Tong Nu.
He made that?
Is a surrealistic point-and-click adventure game. It was published by Sony, in 1994. And so Eastern Mind is a point-and-click adventure game about a man named Rin who's lost his soul. Borrowing from his friend's soul for 49 days, he goes on a quest to a location known as Tong No to die and be reincarnated 9 times in order to recover his soul. Oh my god! That's like, wow! This just sounds so awesome. I just wanted to highlight, like, this guy's amazing. So he's this abstract artist. He has all these like music soundtracks that he's been creating, like these ambient, like tripped out soundscapes that he's been publishing. Why we haven't heard more of this guy, I have no idea. I want a t-shirt with this guy's face on it. Very, very cool, innovative, strange, weird stuff that is right up my wheelhouse. Jack.
Okay, I actually found the video, so yeah.
You can watch it later. I mean, it's like a 30-minute, but that intro song is so cool. Just look at the article, right? It's just that weird face yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah. I can't even think. That video was so trippy. Anyways, so this game showcasing an idea and a concept, like, yeah, maybe your game is trippy, and maybe it doesn't get enough followers to become a sequel, but it will become something else. Yes, I'm doing a podcast, but it will show something else. Like, this game has a cult following, so much so that they made an article about it even this year.
Mm-hmm.
So just because your game ain't initially successful or ain't bringing that much money, that doesn't mean it won't get remembered. Whatever you make will be remembered no matter what, for whether good or bad. So the only thing we could do is make something that represents ourselves the best we can. And this game, I feel like he drew from personal experiences more than anything else.
Yeah.
Cause like, I was watching that 30-minute video, and I gotten up to the moon scene. So the only way to get past this level was to go into the moon. Initially, people is gonna be like, "Oh, ain't that trip?" Or, "Oh, yeah, when you're high, you go straight into the moon." But like, in Japanese culture, if you go into the moon, that means you're going into the home of the gods. So basically, and this is the 3rd level, what it looks to be, and by him applying this, and basically saying, yeah, there's gonna be more cultural stuff that you probably won't get. Or at least more cultural stuff that you probably will have to deal with.
Yeah. And what I didn't mention, I'm so engrossed by this guy's work, is the article is touching on, there is some translators that made a patch so that you can play the original game with an English translation, so you get a little bit more, which maybe playing it in Japanese would be a little bit weirder. I don't know, but they did a tremendous undertaking and released a patch to turn the original game into an English release.
I mean, I could always translate it in Japanese. They took 2 years of Japanese.
Gotcha. So that is fans translate Trippy PlayStation LSD Dream Emulator by bleedingcool.com. Osamu
Awesome
Sato.
fun, Mr.
Yeah, yeah, man. Oh gosh. Okay. Next one is going to be 5 things to consider when designing hyper casual games by pocketgamer.biz. Your thoughts on this article, Jack?
Honestly, this is one of the things in game development where we won't want to look at, but we have to look at, because it will continue to give us new ideas and new understandings, even though it may be stuff that we already know. For example, step 1, brainstorming new ideas. As much as that is a basic fundamental concept, if you're not keep on doing it, or if you don't keep on understanding that step 1 process, you will have games like EA and, well, Battlefield 5. It's basically a total mess because all of their ideas was not brainstormed correctly. And by then, it was already too late. They was already producing the game. So, as much as like these 5 things are basic concepts that a lot of game developers would like to claim they have, just rereading these articles or by just redoing these steps, even for like a basic concept of like, oh, I'm gonna go eat, will continue to help master your skill in this industry, especially as we're now the leaders of basically culture right now. So renewing these simple skills will overall produce better content in the future, and this is one way of reviewing.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that we bring up time and time again. I feel it's very important to continue to bring up is, how do you make a game, right? And,
Yeah.
And we're that's actually one of the questions that we're going to talk about today at the end of the cast. But and there's some fundamental things to consider. This is a really short article. It's just a few paragraphs, and yeah. So just like you said, brainstorming, things like that. He goes into prototyping. Prototyping, how important it is to prototype, and using your results to decide which concepts to develop and which to abandon based on your prototyping. And yeah, I think it's very, very, very important to mention time and time again because it's not as easy as it seems it would be to just make a game. It's just like, we'll just take an afternoon and make a game. To make a good game that stands the test of time, that is a good mix of balance and chaos, takes a lot of effort. And there's these models that we can use and adopt that help us create things of importance.
Yeah.
Games of importance, rather. Okay? So yes, that is by pocketgamer.biz, 5 things to consider when designing hyper casual, or I think in this sense, hyper casual, it means mobile hyper casual.
Right.
Okay.
But hyper casual could also mean console games, for example, like Call of Duty, for example. Hyper casual is anything that you see as a casual game.
Okay. Last article for the day is by dailymail.co.uk, and this is Dr. Michael Mosley. I have loathed them for years. Now I discover video games boost the brain. Your thoughts? Whoa, are you okay, Jack? Hello?
No.
Come in, Jack. What's up? What is this article about? I wonder.
This article is basically showcasing humanity's ability to understand and come to terms that sometimes they are wrong, and sometimes we need to understand that. And really, of course, you don't have to make like a hashtag saying ha ha ha, we were right all this time. Of course not. But I mean, like, overall, this article is about just all jokes aside. This article is about a doctor basically confirming that yeah, I was wrong, but games does have produced a positive impact for you, and here's my evidence. This doctor, I mean, I respect anyone who is like a professional who goes into their field and make articles about their field. But I respect them even more if they halfway admit like, okay, yeah, I made a mistake. Because a true master will always accept his or her mistakes, no matter what.
Yeah, that's the thing with like why I admire scientists and especially like really hardcore mathematicians, because they can spend 10 years of their life working on a problem and solving it, right? And then someone comes along and disproves it. And you just gotta like, oh, okay, whatever. Well, and they actually appreciate that their conclusion was wrong.
Well, and it's not just that, not just somebody disproved it. It was him who disproved his own theory.
But also someone else, right? I mean,
right.
Sure, he could come to terms with himself discovering like a proof that this mathematical thing that he was working on for a decade. But I'm just saying, like that just blows me away, that you can work on something as a scientist and then somebody else can come along and say, hey man, just so you know, and this is the scientific evidence, but your hypothesis on this theory was incorrect. And the ability of a scientist to go like, oh, thank you, I lost my kids and dedicated all my waking hours 10 years of my life to this, but the ability to just accept that, like, oh, thank you, and especially if he's right, that if that other dude's right, the other person's right, that scientist he's elated. He's like, oh my gosh, you're absolutely correct. Solar power is useless. Wow. No.
Oh my god.
Okay.
No, it shows that, but also for a game developer standpoint, it also could give you another arsenal per se in your, say, if you were approached by the media being like, oh, the game's hurting the children's brains and you can't make games because it will hurt children. Show them this article. If you're having them, if they're still harassing you, just show them this article. They will stop because it was one of the biggest champions now turn over to our biggest champion.
Yeah. This is something that's obvious to us, but like the title of our last podcast, the naysayers are coming around, right? Yeah. Okay. So that was by thedailymail.com.
Question.
And it is Dr. Michael Mosley. I have loathed for years. Now I discover video games boost the brain. Yes, Jack.
What's gonna be the title for this one?
I don't know. We'll see. I'll think of something. Okay.
I don't know. We'll see.
All right. So moving on to our question of the day. It is by. Oh, hold on 1 second. I was.
Moonshine.
Okay, so by Moonshiner, yes, and it is. I wanted to create a board game. What would be the best method for me to start? I'll let you start with this one, Chad.
I mean, you could always give us some alcohol and we'll make one. Nah. But anyways, for reals, the best way to start a game will be creating a story, and not. It could be as basic as one sentence or as complex as 20 paragraphs to 20,000 pages. It's up to you. But once you create a story, you basically could make game mechanics around it. And this story could be fictional, but the best ones are often based off of reality. For example, a notable one is Halo. Halo's story is about super soldiers fighting the good fight. Well, that's a King Arthur story in all technicality, because King Arthur can be considered a super soldier, and him and his gang was fighting the good fight. Another good story in which can be based off of reality is a masterpiece. It's like a 1% chance, but as much as you fail, you will grow in that sense.
Cool. Very, very cool. Yes, all of that. I like we do. We like to start with theme, which is like your story. Build off of that as your foundation, and then should you need to go back to the story and change it, you should definitely have the agency to do that. But really, the best way to start is to just start and build it. And depending on who you're building it for and all that, kind of target audience, target market, that would govern really your design principles. But I would say your first game should just be for you. Just make something that you would like to play, that you think that brings you joy when you're designing it and thinking about what the outcome would look like. And just make it, man. Just make sure you have some conflicts, some challenges to get through. Start from a story, play test, make some mechanics, draw your own art or get somebody to do the art for you. You'll find that it's one of the best rewarding experiences that we have on this planet right now, is making games, and make sure it's fun. All right. So thank you for that question. That is going to wrap up our show for today. Jack, where can they contact us if they would like to?
You could talk.
Okay.
You could contact us on the dailycrafters.com.
Beautiful.
Or dailycrafters@gmail.com. And you could support us by buying our product. We only have one game on sale right now, but any support will help us a lot. You could also send us questions, feedback, or concerns you may have, or even articles you may want us to tackle. As you can see, we don't care how political it is. We just, as long as it's positive change in gaming.
Yeah. Yes. All right, that is going to do it. Thank you all for listening.